How's it going, Ram fans? Welcome to the return of the Monday Night Sports Show. I'm Cameron Evig, filling in for Ethan Bird.
And I'm Madeline Davis, on desk for Rachel Hallam. Tonight to get you caught up on everything going on in CSU sports. CSU men's hoops ended their season down in Frisco, Texas with the NIT. See how they fared in their third-place game against Louisiana Tech.
Brennan recaps a wild free agency period through the NFL.
And we finished the night off by taking a look at what the future looks like for Colorado State's athletic program.
Don't go anywhere because CTV Sports starts right now.
Over the weekend, the Rams were down in Frisco, Texas, battling it out at the NIT tournament for postseason supremacy. On Saturday morning, the number 1 seeded Memphis Tigers were the matchup, taking them on in the semifinals to determine who would have a chance at a tourney title. Did CSU inch themselves even closer to a championship, or did they fall flat? Let's find out. Moore runs down the court and jumps over Memphis to sink it in for 2. Memphis tries to steal, but Isaiah Stevens says no way as he hits the glass and the ball bounces in. Tigers' DeAndre Williams comes out of nowhere and gets the steal from CSU to inch his team closer to the lead. Moore to Stevens, Stevens to Roddy, who knocks over Jeffries as the ball bounces in. Here he comes. Tigers' Landers Nolly holds nothing back with this huge dunk. Throughout the game, Stevens made several three-pointers, but unfortunately, it was not enough to stop the Tigers' offense. And when the clock struck 0, Memphis took this one in a blowout 90-67, leaving Ram fans everywhere disappointed that they wouldn't get to see the green and gold in the finals. David Roddy and Isaiah Stevens accounted for a majority of the 67 points CSU scored, with 17 and 18 respectively. But it was no match for the Tigers' own dynamic duo and Landers Nolly II and DeAndre Williams, who combined for 48 points for Memphis. With the disappointment fresh in their minds, Coach Medved's squad looked for a much better effort in Sunday's third-place game against Louisiana Tech. Cameron, how did the Rams fare in that one?
Yeah, Madeline, the Rams took on a really physical Louisiana Tech team yesterday, and this one was all about the battle between Tech's star freshman Kenneth Lofton Jr. and CSU's first All-Mountain West guy, David Roddy. Let's take a look at the Rams and Bulldogs battled it out for third place in Texas. Starting this one off, Isaiah Stevens, deep three, career range out there, gets that one to go. Another play, Kenneth Lofton Jr. This guy was an issue for the CSU Rams all night. Gets that one to go through the double team. David Roddy, an elbow to the face there. Technical foul on Louisiana Tech. Both free throws made by Isaiah Stevens. Ties this, gets this one really close in the late fourth quarter. David Roddy would come back, as we see right here. 25 seconds, the layup, good to go. Cleared like the ocean blue. 74 all tied up. Lofton in the paint against Roddy. Roddy, good defense. The move by Lofton gets it to go with 0.3 left. Louisiana Tech takes it with the buzzer beater. And with that last second drive from Tech's 6'7" freak, the squad out of Ruston was able to steal this one from CSU 76-74. Monday show regulars Ethan Bird and Rachel Hallam were there at the Comerica Center to get the full scoop of how it went down. The Rams were up by 11 at one point in the second half. How did CSU let this one slip away, guys?
How's it going, Ram fans? Heartbreak City here for Rams fans and the team as they just lost against Louisiana Tech in the third place game today, 76-74. It was, as I said, a heartbreaker. We're here to tell you all about it and break it down from there. I'm Rachel Hallam.
And I'm Ethan Bird. And it was just, the Rams were winning this game for 37 minutes. Louisiana Tech took their first lead with about 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game. And it was just, David Roddy was out. He took an elbow to the forehead, so he was out for about 5 minutes. And Louisiana Tech took advantage of that, especially when it comes to Kenneth Lofton Jr.
Yeah, hitting a career high of 27 points and finishing the night with a double-double, his 13 rebounds. He was just a bully under the basket for these Rams, and there was no stopping him at all.
Well, he hit the game-winning layup with 0.3 seconds. It was Kenneth Lofton Jr.'s day. I mean, it was like watching a bowling ball among a bunch of bowling pins whenever he was down in the paint. And it was, I mean, the Rams really didn't have a chance for him, and they didn't really have much of an answer for him. Yeah. And Kenneth Lofton Jr. is really what carried the Bulldogs to this win. You know, the Rams, they finish in 4th place in the NIT, which is, I mean, nobody really even expected the Rams to be playing this deep into March regardless going into this season. So it hurts now, it stings now. You know, they say close only matters in horseshoes and hand grenades, but there's a lot to take out of this season that can be unpacked later.
Well, absolutely. And I mean, we've talked about this multiple times throughout this week, not only this week, but throughout the whole season with the Rams. They're a young team. There's no seniors that are leaving this team. No. So they're going to have this team come back with this experience behind them and going to be able to grow from it. I mean, Niko Medved is one of those coaches. He's going to be able to get this team to where he wants it to be, especially going into next season, and hopefully get them back into the same kind of position in postseason this deep in March.
Yep. Well, I mean, it was a pleasure to be here in Frisco covering the NIT tournament. I know for both you and I, it was a pleasure to cover this CSU basketball team, but unfortunately, the season is over. We'd like to thank all of you for tuning in to our coverage of just about every game. My name is Ethan Bird.
And I'm Rachel Hallam.
Thanks so much, Rams.
Thanks, Ethan and Rachel. Even with this L, there's one thing I know for sure. This Rams team will be back ever stronger come next season.
Moving on to another presence on the court. On Thursday night, Moby Arena may have looked empty from the outside, but inside, the Lady Rams took on Boise State in some volleyball action. Let's take a look at how that turned out. Sasha Colombo bobs the ball to Sierra Zimmerman, who spikes it to tie it up in the first set. Here, in one of the longest rallies of the match, Zimmerman returns the favor and sets the ball to her teammate Lieber, who taps it over for the win. Zimmerman again with the setup for an aggressive Van Liefde kill that gave the Rams momentum. Colombo gets the dig here, allowing for Groves to put the ball in the hole. After the Broncos' failed attempt at returning the ball, CSU shares a celebration on the court. After that last spike hit the ground, CSU ended up taking the win against 10-3 Boise State 3-1. And the most impressive thing about the W, the Rams were able to get it done without their most dominant player on offense, senior Brianna Runnels. In the vet's absence, Sierra Zimmerman picked up the slack with a season-high 47 assists, while redshirt sophomore Jackie Van Liefde led the way offensively, earning 20 kills. And after the underdog win, CSU shifted their focus to another home match, this time against the Utah State Aggies. Cam, how did that one go?
Yeah, Madeline, on a 2-game winning streak, Rams volleyball looked to make it 3 in a row against a conference rival Utah State on senior night. Let's see how they did in this game. Starting it off as the Rams usually do, Zimmerman to Karina Lieber over the net. Lieber gets that spike to go. Zimmerman, once again, you're going to hear her name a lot throughout this volleyball season. This time to Kennedy as she gets that one to go as well. Zimmerman, another one, this time to Van Liefde. And the last one you're going to see here, Zimmerman, Kennedy, once again, Kennedy Stanford had herself a game in this one. Alyssa Grove gets in on the action as well. And when it was all said and done, Kennedy Stanford and Jackie Van Liefde led the way on offense for CSU with 14 and 13 kills, respectively. And most of them were set up from the assists from the setter, Sierra Zimmerman, who set her team up 38 times. All in all, this one was a resounding win for the Rams, who only gave up 33 kills throughout the entire match and led in every single statistical category. Coming away with this 3-1 win against the visiting Aggies after the successful weekend, Coach Hilbert's squad is definitely on a hot streak. We'll have to see if they can keep it up on the road against New Mexico and San Diego State.
Sliding into home plate, CSU softball was down in Albuquerque over the weekend for their series against the New Mexico Lobos to open up conference play. The 3-game series started out strong for the Rams on Saturday with a 3-2 win. The Rams scored 3 runs on 9 hits, led by Ashley Michelena's 3-for-4 day from the dish and Maya Matsubara's 2 hits and 1 run. On the mound, pitcher Jessica Jarecki pitched a complete game with a 131-pitch outing. Later on during the day, though, the script had flipped, with Game 2 going in favor of the Lobos 7-6. A hot start that saw CSU with a 3-0 lead in the opening inning quickly vanished, with the Rams giving up 4 runs on 2 hits and a costly error by third baseman Karina Gamboa. Even with the late game hole, the Lady Rams were able to respond in the 7th to tie things up at 6 apiece, but it was all for nothing, with the Lobos taking it with a walk-off double after CSU left 2 runners stranded on base at the bottom of the inning. With the heartbreaking loss in their minds, Coach Fisher's squad looked to take the series victory. And by weekend's end, they did just that. Bouncing back on Sunday with an 8-6 dub, Gamboa made up for her error the previous day, leading the way with 5 RBIs and 2 home runs, while Danielle Serna, who started things off in the pitching department, put in a moonshot of her own. Maya Matsubara also played a big part in the victory, hitting yet another homer for a dominant CSU attack. Ultimately, it was this Rams killer offensive effort that proved to come in clutch for not only a victory, but also a series win. Looking ahead, the Ladies Rams look towards a homestand against Fresno State this weekend, where they aim to best yet another conference rival.
Making jump from the college ranks and into the pros and from the diamond onto the court, the Denver Nuggets lit up Thursday's trade deadline with some moves to propel themselves even further into championship contention. To start the new acquisitions off, Denver brought a familiar face back to the Mile High Stadium, trading for 3-time NBA champ JaVale McGee. For some depth at the 5, giving up Isaiah Hartenstein and 2 second-round picks to get it done. In my opinion, this is a steal for the Nuggets, who have been lacking the interior defense that Mason Plumlee always brought before moving on to Detroit last offseason. And speaking of former Denver stars that went to the Pistons, wing Jeremy Grant has also left a void behind at forward. It was obvious the first half of the season that the Nugs missed the former Syracuse Orangeman, and Coach Malone's solution was to acquire slam dunk king Aaron Gordon, who comes all the way from down in Orlando. But landing this type of athlete was never going to come up cheap, with the talented big man costing them the longest tenured Nugget Gary Harris and young prospect R.J. Hampton, on top of a first-round pick. And looking at the early impact of this trade, Gordon made his Nuggets debut on Sunday, and he fit right in, dropping 13 points in a 126-102 blowout of the Atlanta Hawks. And after all these additions, one thing's for sure: they'll only be worth it if the Mile High City is finally able to take home an NBA championship in the near future. Well, that's all I've got on Nuggets trade news, but there's also been some player movement in the NFL. Brendan Fairbairn tells you all about that after the break. Back from the break, Rams, although CSU teams have come up a tad short of expectations as of late, these athletic teams based right here in Fort Collins provide plenty to look forward to the CSU faithful. Most importantly, the 2 teams on the Moby Arena basketball court.
That's right, Cam. And with the men's basketball team not getting it done at the NIT, fans surely expected more from Coach Medved's young, talented squad, a group without a single senior on the roster. And although the team doesn't have any seniors and just experienced postseason play for the first time in a while, it does have 2 underclassmen leading the way. In star guard Isaiah Stevens and All-Mountain West pick at forward David Roddy. So with all this production returning, can CSU host a Mountain West Championship trophy for the first time since 2003? I mean, at the end of the...
No, yeah, Madeline, I do think that they have a shot to get there next season. Isaiah Stevens averaging 15.3 points a game for this squad. Roddy at 15.9, almost 16 for David Roddy, that forward in the middle. 9.4 rebounds per game as well. Would not be surprised to see Roddy average that double-double next year. Somebody like Kendall Moore for me, though. Kendall Moore is going to be that X factor on this squad. If he's able to continue to hit those corner threes, continue to play well, get his shooting percentages just a little bit up to take some of that pressure off of Stevens and Roddy, I could see this Rams team going pretty far.
I totally agree. I think that there's a lot of potential there, and I know that Roddy also had his numbers were higher in like league play than they were against everybody else. So that's
important.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the men fell just short of their goal of getting to the NCAA tournament, and for the Lady Hoopers of CSU, the season ended in similar fashion.
That's right, Madeline. And losing their leading rebounder and leading scorer, Laura DeVos, it's going to be tough for her. But she graduates the Rams squad. But look no further. McKenna Hofschild and Carly Murphy to step up to this for the squad in the face of Laura's departure. These two players are the players that I think are going to be the future of Ram athletics. Although Carly Murphy didn't have the best season last year, it's hard to shine in that forward position when you have such a good player like Laura DeVos. I think although Laura leaving is obvious negative for the CSU Ram squad, Carly Murphy will have more opportunities to shine, play well in that post area. Also, just getting set up from the fantastic play of McKenna Hofschild. CSU Lady Hoopers have a lot to look forward to, and I think they could even get a bid next year.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think, definitely you have to talk about McKenna Hofschild.
Yeah.
She had the highest average of points at 13.4.
Yeah.
And then she also had the most playing time, and you don't get playing time if you're not a good player.
Yeah, an absolute anchor for that Rams squad for sure. Leading the way in assists as well. Somebody like Tori Williams, though, 11.6 points, as Kendall Moore is for the men, Tori Williams for the woman. She has to be somebody to get those shots up, make those shots, and be a little bit more consistent, and she's the X factor for this women's squad.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Ram fans, that's all we have for tonight. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at CTV_11 to keep up with everything happening on campus. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 for your regularly scheduled Tuesday night news show. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon.